Well, hello, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. I know we're still kind of sheltering in place during this COVID 19 pandemic, so I sincerely hope you're all healthy and staying safe, and hopefully, we'll get through this sooner rather than later and be back to some level of normal in the next few weeks. Uh, I wanted to spend a little bit of time today and talk with you about a new feature that is in Digital Measures. So, if you'll go into Digital Measures and you look up at the top bar, you'll notice now that you have a feature called CV Imports. This feature is going to allow you to work on an existing Word document type CV and help you import that information into Digital Measures in a more time efficient manner. So there's still a lot of things that have to be done to get the information from the CV in your Word document, your old Word document, I should say, into Digital Measures. But you should be able to do it in much less time than it would take if you were sitting there manually inputting or directly cutting and pasting from the Word document. So the CV import doesn't just take your CV and automatically know what to do with everything. You do have to go through and mark things, highlighting things, and that type of thing. But nonetheless, it will help you continue to import information from your old legacy CV, as I like to call it, um, into Digital Measures a little more efficiently. So I have my old CV still hanging around. I found it on my Dropbox folder today. I haven't actually gone in and updated my Word document CV in about 3 years, but I know that there are some areas that I still haven't gotten to in terms of getting it from my CV into Digital Measures. So today I'm going to use it as a kind of an example to show you how easy it is to actually use the CV import tool to get information from that old Word document CV into your Digital Measures account. That's very important to know. If you have a file that is not a Word document type file, so it'll take docx, and rich text format, or RTF files, I believe, are the file formats that it will take. You're going to have to convert your CV into one of those formats before you can import it. So it is limited. It won't do PDFs. It won't do old WordPerfect files if you happen to have yours still on WordPerfect and you're using Corel's WordPerfect still. You're just going to have that converted over into a Word document before you get started. So basically, what you do is when you get into Digital Measures and you're ready to proceed, you'll go to CV Imports. And you'll see that you've got the CV Importer tool here. And so it's got steps, pretty easy for you to follow. Step 1 is to upload a CV. Step 2 is to highlight content. And step 3 is to review. You'll notice it says Welcome to CV Imports. This tool will allow you to easily upload your entries into activities. And the first thing you'll need to do is upload your CV. And if you've already done this, then you can open a link under drafts and that are in progress. Now, I haven't uploaded my CV yet, but you'll also notice here that it tells you upload new CV. You can drop your file here, or you can select upload. It needs to be a .doc, .docx, .odt, so I'm not sure what that one is, and .rtf. So I guess there's another file form that it'll take. But notice there's no PDF. Okay, so if you have your CV currently as your old CV as a PDF file, please have it converted to Word, one of those formats, and make sure that everything translates before you get started with this. Because if you have mistakes in that file before you get started, it's just going to make things more difficult for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select to upload. I saved mine to my Dropbox folder, and I've left it there for quite some time. I really have. I'm not trying to sell Digital Measures more than I typically do. You all know I'm a fan. But the fact of the matter is, it's a heck of a lot easier for me to keep track of things that way than on my old CV. So there's my CV right there, DSM Curriculum Vitae. I'll just select that file. I'll open it, and it's going to bring it into the system. And it shows that I've got one CV listed here. Okay, and then it says once I've selected my file, I need to move on to the next step and make sure that you've uploaded the current file before moving on. So make sure you've got a file here and it's showing no errors, right? It should look something like this: file name, how big it is, that kind of thing. So now we're going to go ahead and begin, and it's going to move us into step 2, which is highlighting content. And so we can select activity type. So you'll see there's my old Word document CV. Okay, so I can come through and I can select activity types. Okay, and I can come over here. And what I know that I haven't gone back in time and entered were all of my awards and honors. At this point, I've really pretty much so gotten everything into Digital Measures in terms of my publications, my presentations, my research and creative scholarly activity. But one of the things that I kind of put off for a while was awards and honors. So I know I'm going to want to go into awards and honors. And then it gives me some highlighting instructions. Okay, so you're going to want to follow that. So can do all that. So I'm going to remove the highlight you've just made, simply click and remove the highlight. So we're going to go through and we're going to continue. You can always get those highlighting instructions by going there, and it'll pop that back up for you. And I know that it's my awards and honors that I really want to pay attention to. And I'm just going to select some here. Maybe I want to go back all the way there to then. And it says then, once you've highlighted the entries you would like to add as awards and honors records, move on to the next section. So I already had this stuff listed in my Digital Measures account. I'd gone back kind of this far, I think. Okay, but I didn't have all of this other stuff. I just kind of put it off and didn't really worry too much about it. But now I've got an opportunity, so I've highlighted that. I'm now going to go to next. And what you'll see is it has actually, it's going to allow me to confirm these entries. And so entry number 1, it kind of breaks up that highlight into what it thinks is your areas. So entry 1, College of Science and Technology, Outstanding Faculty Teaching Award 2012, Honors Ambassador. So yeah, it's really gotten all of this stuff. It looks to me to be quite correct, actually. So there's going to be 17 entries that I can actually import. Now you can merge and split entries. So if it happened to grab, let's say, entry 1 and entry 2, and it thought that that was one entry, I could select merge or split, and then I could tell it to split those entries into 2. You have to do some highlighting, those types of things. And so now it says once I've confirmed that the entries are correct, I'm going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to move on to the next step. And now I have to highlight fields. So this page outlines the fields you'll be asked to provide information for. You only need to complete required fields and at least one date field for each entry, but completing recommended and optional fields will best ensure the records are comprehensive as possible. Okay, and all required fields are with an asterisk. So everything with an asterisk has to be completed. Okay. So it's telling me that the recommended fields are these, and then the date fields move on. So we're going to be good. We're going to move on. So it says add nominated or received. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put I actually did my nominations or receiving. So I actually received these awards. So I'm going to mark them all as received. If I can use my mouse there, it's getting sticky on me for some reason. But you're just going to go through and do this type of information. And so I'm going to update those entries. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to the next step. Now it tells me to please highlight the award or honor name for each of your awards and honors entries. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is come through and highlight the award name. You'll notice I'm not including the month. That's just how I happen to have it all entered into the system. So I'll go through and use my, right now I'm doing this on my laptop, so I'm using my touchpad, which is really not as convenient as using my mouse. So I would highly recommend that you use a mouse for this, and it might work well on a something like a Surface or a Surface Pro, but I don't know, I don't have one of those. But the trackpad is a little inconvenient here. Whoops, I better go back and re-highlight that. And again, it's because I'm using this trackpad. But you get the idea. You're going to highlight everything so it's like painting your information from your old CV. Got to tell it where it's all going to go. And again, I messed that up. So I'm going to remove that highlight. And I'm going to start over again. And you'll notice a lot of these awards that I'm highlighting are these old legacy awards. You know, these things are dating back 30 years. These are some things that I got when I was still a student. But I started my CV fairly early on, and we're going to remove that highlight. We're going to redo that because I messed that one up. But it's, you know, so you can understand why, you know, when we first started using digital measures here, I never included a lot of this stuff. It's really old stuff. I don't really rely on it anymore. In all honesty, it wouldn't have mattered one way or the other if I had put it in my CV at this point in my career. But I'm just using it as an example to show you how to use this. And it is stuff that I haven't entered. Of course, all my publications, I wanted all that material in there, and I've already got that kind of stuff in there. Students that I've mentored, all that kind of stuff is already there. Now I've already got all this highlighted, so I'm going to click next step. Okay, and then it's going to ask for the organization sponsor for each of the awards. Now the problem is that I didn't really put that information in my CV, so I'm really going to need to do this by manual entry. I can't really highlight this one. So this, of course, was College of Science and Technology, back when we had one. Honors Ambassador, this would be Honors College. This would be the European Peptide Society. Now, of course, I could have selected that in the title on that one. This would be USM. This would be University of Oklahoma. And again, I could have highlighted, but then it would have been University of Oak. That's how I happen to have it in there. This one too is University of Oklahoma. Ganfellow, University of Oklahoma. This was University of Arkansas. Now, I could have just skipped this because it's not a required field. This was the Inter Tribal Council. So I can update my entries. Once I have all of that information, I can go on to the next step. I can then go through and add my dates. So those I can pretty much highlight, I think. So, well, let's see. So I can do these. I did in just the year. Let's see. So I can go through and highlight the dates. I'm going to highlight just the years here. Oops. Let's go back. So we've done that. Let's go ahead and just enter this information. All right, 2005. I could do, guess this one doesn't work as well with highlighting apparently. And then the Ganfellow, this was a range, but I'm just going to enter in the start date. And then those that are multiple years, I could go in later and fix as I can go in and duplicate those for different years and just change the year on it pretty easily. So I'm going to update those entries. Move move on to the next field. Okay. So now I'm going to review all of the awards that I've prepared before importing the activities. Make sure that it's all correct. I can then edit as I need to. So I can actually view the original entry if I want to that shows it how it looked from my CV. And so now this is how it will look like in digital measures. So I actually received this one, so that's going to be marked received. This is the award or honor name. This is the sponsoring organization. Notice I skipped the month, I skipped the day, and I only entered the year. I could edit that if I wanted to, so I'm going through looking at everything, and it looks like it pulled everything in correctly. And so now I can go to next. I've confirmed everything is right. I have the ability to now go to next. Okay. And so if you're finished creating records, move on to the final step. So I'm going to import these 17 records. You could go through and do additional sections at this point and do all this over again and then upload everything at once. But I'm pretty much so done with what I want to update in my CV. So I'm going to go review and import the 17 records. It says, please review all of the records you've prepared before importing to activities. So I can go through and I can look at all those again. It gives me an opportunity twice to make sure that it's correct. So I'm quite sure this is correct at this point. Now, keep in mind that if you make a mistake and you actually import it, you can go back into digital measures and edit it. This isn't going to lock it down. So no need to worry if you do make a mistake, or if there's something that you would like to have changed, like say maybe you marked it as nominated by accident, and then you realize that later on that was actually in a received award, you can go in and make those types of changes pretty easily. So I'm going to go to import, and it tells me that my import was successful. So I've imported successfully 17 records. It appears that you haven't selected any entries. I don't know what all that's about. But my import was successful. I could go to reports. I could then pull up a veto or a blank document if I wanted to and look at the information as it's pulling into my current CV that's in digital measures. But if I go to activities and I manage my activities, and then I go to my awards and honors, I will see that this information has in fact been imported. So there was some examples where I had an award that went for multiple years, and that was, for example, this Gann Fellowship, right? And so I told you I just put the starting date for that, but I had it in 1995, I had it in 1996, I had it in 1997, and I had it in 1998. What I could simply do is go and I can duplicate that because as you'll notice in this, it only gives me the option for one date type for an award. But I actually got that award for multiple years, right? So I just need to come here and go to Gann Fellow, click on the box, tell it to duplicate that entry. It's going to duplicate that, and then I can come down here and say 1996, and then I can save that. And so what will happen then, right, when you come down here to Gann Fellow, you'll see that I had it in 95, I had it in 96. I can duplicate it again for 1997. Save that. And then I think I also had it in 98. I'll have to go back and look on my old, but I'm pretty sure I had it in 98. It was 99 that I don't think I had it, but I can go in and duplicate that again and come down here and go 98. And then I can save that. I could also come in, of course, right, and I can add additional information, right? I got this this award actually I would need to mark other if I wanted to. I could put in a brief description. I can also upload a file for evidence if I need to, but I'm not going to do that today. And so that really is as long as it took me to update 17 additional records that I had on my old CV that I just never imported into Digital Measures. You can essentially use this CV import tool for anything that involves Digital Measures. As long as you have it in your old CV, you can import it this way. So I hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to go in and start using the CV import tool. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But please note that everybody's Word document CV is in a different format. It would be hard for me to tell you exactly where everything belongs. You're going to have to make some decisions on that. So I would highly recommend you review your old CV before you start this to make sure that you're going to have all of the entries that you need, so you'll know what's going to be highlighted, what's not going to be highlighted, what you're going to have to enter manually, as I showed through this, etc. So I hope you find the tool useful. I think it'll be useful for those of you who have a long-standing legacy CV or cherished CV, if you will, that you've had for, obviously you saw mine, it's over 30 years old. And so getting that information from one system into the other, I think this will certainly help. It is not by any means an automatic thing, but it certainly beats looking at one screen and typing into the other, or cutting and pasting from one to the other using the paste board. I think this will speed things up considerably. They say it improves the speed by about 5-fold. I think you'll probably not see quite that speed, but it'll certainly be faster than you going through and manually typing. So with that, I wish you all to stay safe during this pandemic. We're looking forward to you getting back on campus, hopefully in the near future. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to answer them. So stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.